path,
Mhm.
which today I can see like that was definitely not our path, like coming back into the corporate world, but from the other side, and kind of like more having a traditional business and an office and employees and all this stuff. It's just not, the business or the consulting boutique, that we are meant to be.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I would say that Corona kind of like gave us a favor on that.
Yeah.
And that, we were just, I would say, push to continue, developing our business side. And in that sense, we started building our community, and we started the podcast, and we started Lunch Club, and we developed, our first online programs, and for that as well, because we were having more visibility, and we were having our online programs, then more consulting clients as well, came to us. So at the end of the day, like we continue growing our business today, and this first quarter as well, we're growing like crazy, which is pretty cool. And,
good for you guys.
Very aligned with who we are, and with our personality, with our values, with our identity. And I think that's very, very important as well. So, like being aware of who you are, and building a business, that it's aligned with that.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
the needs of the person normally are different than the needs of the business. And because the needs of the entrepreneur, the owner, are going to be always normally our priority, then that's why then the business dies. Or that's why it's not fulfilling, or that's why it end up
makes
being
so
this
much
monster
sense.
that you are stressed and anxious, and like all this stuff that we see it every single day, So when we see this kind of things, okay, why this is happening, it's because you have a business that is not aligned with who you are, or at least with who you are at this stage of your life. So having that self-awareness on which kind of monster are you building, because it can get out of control very easily. It's super important. And I would say that 2 years ago, or almost 2 years ago, when Corona came, or a little bit that year ago, we didn't have that self-awareness. So that's why I'm saying that Corona ended up, like was a favor to us,
sort of the silver lining was that you found that for yourself.
Exactly.
Exactly. No, that's really amazing. And do you think like, can you point a finger at like why people, because I think a lot of times people separate it, right? Like there's the business self and there's the personal self. Like what's causing that separation? Do you have any idea what that is?
I would say that it's a separation, that we have in general as a society. I don't think that society and our current worldview and model of education is a model that talks about, correlation, and talks about, like the interdependence of the different areas. So we grow in a way that we think that everything is different. So your relationship is one thing, and then your friends another thing, and then your financial life is another thing, and then your spirituality is another one, and your health. And it's like the interdependence that exists, in all those stuff, it's crazy. So I think that we tend to isolate the different areas of our own life in different pillars, and we think that we are successful when we are mastering the pillar that for us is the most important one. We are very empowered on that specific area of our life, but we are very disempowered on the other areas. And what happens is that when you are disempowered in other areas, it's not that you will not, manifest that area in your life. It's just that somebody else will take over that. So if you are disempowered with your money, well, guess what? You will have no money. If you have it, then you will give it away to somebody. So some sort of institution, that will manage your money for you, or like, I don't know, like something like that will happen. If you're not empowered, for example, like in your relationship, well, guess what? You will fall, into stereotypes or paradigms, or what your friends are saying, how your relationship should be, so all the areas are equally important, at least to me, or my point of view. But I don't think that in general society have that approach. So that's why we empower the area that for us is the most important one, and we neglect the other one.
Neglect all the others, and or see them as a separate thing, you know.
Exactly.
Also going back to your story at the beginning of like, no, good grades, go to university, this is what you need to be doing. Because I think a lot of people, and I think also there's so much fear, you know. I know a lot of people, because I've always been driven. I knew what I wanted, and I've always, even though like, oh yeah, I'll have a career in theater, I have a career in the arts, or I have a career even now also with yoga, you know, like it's hard, but it's like, it's always what I wanted to do, and I never questioned it. But I've always seen people full of fear, like, oh, I'll just have a safe job, which I hate, you know, like, and then they just, you know, they just, you know, people that just don't seem to understand that you can also love your job, or find, you know, do something that you actually love to do. But I also, this is another question I had for you guys, because I feel like in my personal belief, not everybody is an entrepreneur. Like, you got to be a certain type of person to actually, you know, be okay with entrepreneurship. Do you agree with that?
Yes, absolutely. The thing is that, I mean, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but it's just how it is. Everyone can be everything, you know.
No,
or
exactly.
We cannot. So we need the entrepreneurs, and we need as well, you know, the employees, because otherwise, imagine like 7.5 billion people, you know, being entrepreneurs and 0 employees. Well, that would not work, right?
Yeah.
So for me, are both equally important, you know. I have the feeling that right now, like, being an entrepreneur is kind of mainstream, and it's like the cool thing to do.
Yeah, it's also like people throw that word around all the time, like, yeah, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm like, do
exactly,
you know what it is?
Yeah, it's kind of like we're putting entrepreneurs, you know, like in these pedestal, you know, like
exactly.
It's just, you know, another role, you know, that we need in our society. We need doctors, we need the lawyers, you know, like we need them all. Again, we need them all. And we need entrepreneurs, you know. And of course, not everyone it's, you know, meant to be a doctor. You know, not everyone is meant to be a lawyer. Not everyone is meant to be like a yoga instructor. Like, not everyone is meant to be an entrepreneur. It's just as simple as that, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I really agree with that. I think it's definitely, because I mean, you know, there's also, some people also have a lot of peace of like, I work for a boss, I come home, I don't have to think about anything else. And I think, I mean, I for a few years had my own cafe with my best friend in Lisbon, and you always take it home. Like, there is not a second, especially when you run a business like that, there is not a second. You're 7 days open, you know, you're always on. Like, it really is a hard life, you know. And I definitely, I mean, I'm still an entrepreneur, but in a different way, and I enjoy this life a lot better. But it's really, that's also why I love a business like yours, because I do think there should be a lot of support, you know, because some people have amazing talent, they can do a lot of things, but actually the business side of it, or understanding, like even what you were saying about like, how do I grow a business sustainably, they don't know, you know, but they have the talent. They just need people like you and Sina, who then come in and just sort of, you know, give them the tools, give them the kits, but, you know, kind of on the sideline, you know, coaching them is I think what a lot of people would really benefit from. So I think it's great that you guys exist like that, you know.
Thank you.
And that you provide so much for free also, I think is a wonderful service to the community, you know.
Yeah, the thing is that for us, it's all about as well expanding the message, and our message in that sense is very simple. We want to accelerate the transition to a more sustainable economy. That's it, you know. And for that, we need to raise the awareness, and we not only from like business people doing business. Also from the consumer side as well, you know. We need the consumer, because we vote with our money every single day.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Like there's a example, you know, that I love, because a lot of people, you know, always at least in our industry, the sustainable world, like bitching against Nestle, you know. It's like this evil corporation, you know, that they doing a lot of things wrong, which I agree. Now we vote that company, you know, every single day. Like, if tomorrow, you know, like every single human being on earth when they go to a supermarket, they avoid buying something from that company.
Yeah.
Like I'm willing to bet, like significantly amount of money, that the next day, the company will be changing radically.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, like it's kind of like the chicken and the egg, and we can have that philosophical discussion. And again, I think we just need them all, so we need consumers changing, we need companies changing and accelerating that transition. Making, like that snowball grow.
100%.
Same thing, like from the activist side, like some people as well, like they love or they hate them, like the Greta, kind of, approach. And we need them, like you can agree or not, but we need them as well,
So I'm team Greta for sure. Like I love that girl.
I'm too, but a lot of people, are not. And
I know.
Even though like we need them, we need the activists.
Exactly.
We need them. We need the business people. We need the corporate. We need, the revolutionary thinkings. We even need the politicians today. Even I don't like the politicians, but we need them as well.
Yeah. No, for sure. I definitely think that's a really good. It's really good point. And how do you? How do people find you? Or how do you get your clients? Because that's another thing that we were talking about a little bit before recording. Is like, I was sort of saying to you as well, like how I kind of struggle personally, and I see a lot of people struggle. Like, okay, like where do you advertise? How do you get people to your business? And how does that? Can you explain a little bit how it works for you? And maybe people will get inspired or get some advice from it.
Yes. Well, we've done like different methods. Maybe I would try to explain to you in a way that anyone listening can take like actionable advice out of these. So because like what's the process of getting a client, and the first thing, well, you need to have some ways and systems ideally, in place on how to generate leads. And when I mean generate leads, I mean, getting out of obscurity, because before that person being a lead or that business being a lead, they just don't know you. They don't know that you exist. So the first thing that you need to do is kind of like raise the attention, of somebody and say, hey, I exist, this is what I do. So the first step, is to get out of obscurity. And how you do that? Well, we do it through like cold contacting people, that we think that we might be a good fit for working with them, like cold email, cold, LinkedIn outreach, calling people, looking in our network. That's something, that I think it's super powerful and very underestimated, like generating human connections, like just like it's my in my experience, when I see people doing business, they think that it's business with other businesses, and it's just like a human with another human. So a good human, right? If you want to get to know some person because you think it's interesting or might be a good fit, and you have somebody in common that can introduce you, well, pick the phone, call the person that and tell them that you want to get to know this specific person, and that's it. Be a good human. I would say, that's it. And we provide a lot of free value as you said as well. So we naturally, we're putting content and we're putting the podcast and we're doing the show, so we naturally as well, we attract like people to our world or into our world. So that's how we generate, like leads, let's say. And from there, well, we get to know them, being a good human. When you meet somebody, well, what's the first that you do? You start talking about yourself and how great you are. Like we know that kind of people, and that people normally they're an asshole, you get to know somebody, like, and I'm the coolest person in the world, I this and that, like 2 minutes with that person is like, oh my God, I'm out of here. Right? Just be interested in what the other people are doing, like ask them questions, like be curious. And that's something, that it's something that we do very natural as well. Like, how are you doing? What's your business? What's your wife?
Just like a personal approach as well, right? Within the business model, there's a personal, because what I really liked also you do it and Sabine does it as well. Like when you sign up for your newsletter, you get a response like, hey, thank you so much for signing up. And if you have 5 minutes, tell me a little bit about yourself. And I thought straight away, like, yeah, I should start doing that as well, because then that way you straight away get to know your audience, you know, which
Exactly.
I thought was a really
exactly.
smart.
And I take the time, you know, I mean, that's how we got